everyone. Good to see you. Happy New Year's Eve. I hope you're all staying warm. It has been close to 40 below here, and that's a wee bit chilly. And 40 below is in Celsius, which is how it's measured in Canada, is 40 below in Fahrenheit as well. So either way, y'all know it's cold, whether it's wherever you are from. It's been crazy cold. Went outside to feed the birds, and holy crow, glad that I'm not living outside, I tell you. So today I'm going to be talking about the Akasha and the Akashic Records. I've had quite a few people who have been availing me of those services, and it's been wonderful. I'm finding that I get deeper insights while I'm in the Akashic Records. And now I'm learning about other parts of the Akashic Records through exploration and through chatting with others and doing more and more readings and healings through it. That there's more to it than I'd ever thought before. When I first took the Akashic Records, it was a very solemn and very serious kind of a process. And I found it not very approachable. I would say that would be my best way. I felt like I should be genuflecting all the time. And that's not who I am. I have a faith that I think is rock solid. But it's not in it's not in the religious way like it used to be at one point. I know when I was a kid and catechism was finished in grade 6, and then all of a sudden grade 7 came along and they were no longer holding catechism, and I was very disappointed. And I was the only one of my family getting up early on a Sunday to walk the, 8 blocks or so, whatever it was, to church. Because I love my pastor. Father Belanger was just the best. I loved what he taught. If he ever taught fire and brimstone, I never heard it. It was always love. And the 2 lessons that I learned from him that have stuck with me to this day have been, 1, that God is not only in a church, he's everywhere. Now I refer to God as source. Second one, that you know in your heart whether what you are doing is right or wrong for you, and whether or not it would be approved as, the right thing for you to do. And I remember when I was getting married, going on the pill, oh my goodness, that was going against all the teachings I had. And I remember talking to my priest, wasn't Father Belanger. I had moved to a new city and so on. And I used that knowledge from Father Belanger to check inside, was it okay to go on the pill? And I absolutely did get a yes. And if you're Roman Catholic, that's just not the way to do it. And I thought of myself as a very good person, good Catholic, and followed the teachings as far as I knew. And it was interesting to intuit that answer, that yes, it was okay to go on the pill for me. I don't know that that would be the truth for everybody, but for me, that was the right thing. And it was liberating to feel that approval, that it was okay, that I wasn't going to go to hell because I took the pill, and wanted to be a responsible person, starting out my new career as a teacher, starting in my new marriage. I wanted to get to know my hubby. I wanted to enjoy our time together first. And so, so when it was time to go off the pill and start having children, that felt good too. It was okay. But yeah, I never forgot those 2 lessons from Father Belanger. And it was always love that he spoke of. And that is why I continue on with my faith. I don't know that I would consider myself a good Catholic anymore, a good person, absolutely. But I'm not at church all the time, or I haven't been for years, decades actually, probably. Maybe not decades, but at least a decade. And I feel okay by that, because within my heart, I'm doing the things that I was taught. To me, that showed a person how to be right and good, not only for myself, but for all concerned, for everybody. Treat others with kindness, dignity, respect. That's a motto I live by. I don't believe you earn respect. I think that's something said by others that try to intimidate you into showing their superiority over you. That's a feeling I get. True or not true, I don't know, but that's the feeling that I get. And to me, you treat people with kindness, dignity, and respect. And when they show otherwise, then you need to not believe them, follow what they say, that kind of a stuff. But you still don't go around trying to sabotage them, prove them wrong, anything like that. What for? What is the beef about? It's generally within a person themselves that they have a beef, that they need to feel superior to another person. And if that's how they need to conduct themselves and that's right for them, okay. It's certainly not right for me. And so that's not what I do. I feel that it's important to treat others with kindness. When I was looking into the Akashic Records for myself, one of the things a person can do is go back in time and see where beliefs came in, where certain thoughts came in, whether it was from this time or from childhood, or, if you believe in past lives. I happen to now subscribe to that because of a lovely lady who followed a Hindu faith. She was sharing that with me about reincarnation. And I was still in my 20s when I had met her. And so my church teachings were still there. But going within, I still found that when I listened to her words, they didn't contradict. I didn't have a no, no, no feeling inside. And then I happened to watch, it was probably a PBS special on the Dalai Lama, choosing the Dalai Lama, the current Dalai Lama. And they found this young boy in the most, oh my goodness, poorest of places. But somebody had figured out that this young man, this young boy, was the next Dalai Lama to be. And they filmed this. And they brought artifacts from the Dalai Lama that he was supposedly reincarnating from. And it was fascinating. And this little boy was looking at all these things that were laid before him on a table. And he was to choose which of these items did he have while he reigned as Dalai Lama of, I don't know what century. And the boy pointed to, this was the scepter, these were my false teeth, this was the thing that I used for whatchamacallit, I don't know if he had 5, 8 items. And the people that were conducting the test distracted him. And they had his attention over here. While his attention was over, not looking at the artifacts, somebody else was switching a few of them around. And then the people that distracted him brought his attention back to the table and queried him again. So you said that this was your scepter, this was your false teeth, this was your something else, la, 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 whatever they were. And this little boy, you would think he would be such a shy little fella, but all of a sudden he got this great big, no, that's not what I said. And somebody switched it, and he touched the scepter that he did have and the false teeth that were his, and it didn't matter how many times they tried to pull this on him. The young boy pointed to each of the artifacts that belonged to that previous Dalai Lama. So they were convinced enough to bring him into, I don't know what the place is where they teach the up and rising Dalai Lama. I don't recall. But anyways, so they're bringing him into the building where he would have been raised as a child to grow up to be that Dalai Lama from that century. And the boy is looking around and he's saying, well, this was where my room was, but those aren't my things. Who put those things in my room? Like, I mean, you would only say such a thing if this was your stuff. And indeed, that room was his bedroom. And indeed, later on, it was discovered they had put up a wall for something, whatever it was, partitioning off something. Who put this wall here? Like, it was so obvious that the child had been there. And eventually, all the tests were sorted out, and he did pick the right throne that apparently he sat on versus the other thing. And wow, Cricket, 3 past lives. I've got one that I think I have a glimpse of, but oh my goodness, that's amazing. But how can you deny that when you have this young boy, and this is no actor trying to portray and trying to impress others. He was being a genuine little boy going, this is what it was. This is how I believed. This is where I went. This was my stuff. Don't tell me that was my stuff, because that wasn't it. This was. And so hence with all of that, and again, no naggy feeling from the inside saying, that's not true, then I knew that this was truth for me. Others might say, again, that's not true, that, it can't be, there's no such things. Once you die, you die. And that's okay if you believe that. I'm not going to argue with you about your beliefs. They're your beliefs. I respect that. I respect people. So, and I treat people with dignity and respect. And so, yeah, it's one of those things that that changed my mind and how I viewed the world. And it made learning my intuitive gifts, leaning into them more, bringing that intuition in more, allowing myself to go down paths of learning more and more different healing modalities and picking up on what is right for me, what works well, what doesn't work well, and so on. So it was interesting. Well, here I am back at taking yet another course of the Akashic Records. And like I said, the first one, I just couldn't jive with it. It gave lovely information, but I couldn't connect with it. And maybe I wasn't ready for it at the time. And I'm getting a feeling. So it might have been part of me that wasn't quite ready for it, but I am absolutely ready for it now. And the proof is in the pudding, because now when I go into a person's Akashic records, I see their Akashic hall, where all their records are kept. I speak to their guides. I see their guard at the door. I can describe the room. The visuals are coming in. Some guides speak with their mouths, and I can see their mouths moving and hear their voices. Others, their mouths don't move at all, and they're speaking with telepathy, depending on the person that I was reading. It's been fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And now I'm going deeper into more of the healing aspect. So yes, I will answer the questions that people ask. And I understand there's a way to phrase them. There's three basic types of questions that I'm told these are the best ones to ask. And so I phrase them so that they come out that way, and then I can get the answers. But even when I've made a faux pas and asked a question that wasn't structured in that way, I still got answers. So whether the person that is teaching me had a different point of view, and that's how he was instructed, then that's how he was instructed, and he's passing on that information. I'm finding that there's a little bit of leeway, but it's all good. It's still all good. So coming across healing aspects, and a biggie for me was letting go of vows and contracts. In taking some other healing modalities, one I know as art, now all of a sudden the name escapes me. Don't know if I have my book right handy. Not that I can reach it with one hand right now. It's a release technique, and it involves the use of a lovely pendulum, and you ask your guides and your angels your questions and so on, and she gets her answers through the use of a pendulum. This instructor, what I love about her, Renu is her name. She does not believe in religion. She is a science gal. And I love that she came from that science. Everything needed to be proved. Everything needed to have an explanation of some sort. And I identify with that too, because as a teacher, when I'm teaching my students, I needed to have facts, not just things that I thought were the right things. They needed to be facts. And so I got and developed that analytical mind over the years. And so I could certainly appreciate where Renu was coming from. And the only connection she could have was not through her intuition, but through the use of her pendulum. And she gets her connections through that, and can get her yes and her no answers and her maybes. And we add in stuff one direction, take out stuff the other direction. Her course is fabulous, absolutely fabulous. So, Mandy, and I love learning through her on her beliefs. And she talked a little bit about vows and contracts. Well, I was working with one of her students so that I could get in more practice with her modality, and other people were looking for a practice partner with her modality. And so I was arranging these meetings, and people were having a hard time understanding some of the information. And being a teacher, special needs teacher at that, I know how to do, I know it as task analysis, which is breaking down a big concept into bite-sized pieces, because that's what I needed to do for my students. So whether I was working with mentally challenged kids, where literally I was teaching them how to wash their hands or how to put a toque on their heads, literally taking them step by step and starting at the end where we shut the water off as the last step of washing hands, for example, or making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and going from back to front so that eventually they could do all the steps by themselves and stay safe and not, cut themselves with a knife. Plastic that it was, but still, one still had to be careful. And so it was interesting working with that. And then I found that as I retired from teaching, well, lo and behold, here comes my information that I had learned as a teacher along the way to benefit me yet again. So that's been good. So these vows and contracts were something else that I realized just how important they were, because throughout my entire healing practices, it seemed that no matter which one I did, there was always a belief to release. Beliefs come from often the vows that we make to ourselves. So, for example, an example of a vow might be a mother who's just given birth to her child, and as she looks at this newborn bundle of love, I'm certain most every mother would have said something to the effect of, I will always love you. I will always protect you. You are mine. And I will teach you everything I know. And, as God is my witness, you will be protected, to these kinds of a thing. So we make vows that it's a promise to ourselves. Well, we can also make vows that hold us back in life. Let's say we've come across an embarrassing situation. You go to the school dance and put your pants on backwards. I don't know. And somebody points it out and laughs. And it happened because you were dancing and the whatever it was on backwards, whatever it was. It doesn't matter. But the thing is, you got really embarrassed and it was pointed out, and you vowed you'll never go dancing again because this is what happens. And you find yourself as an adult, even though this happened when you were, maybe grade 6, grade 7, grade 8, whatever it was. You find yourself as an adult, you absolutely refuse to get on the dance floor. And it's because of a vow you made, I will never go dancing when you were 8 or 12 or 15 or whatever the age was. And that sticks with you. I mean, if you never went dancing, would it be such a terrible thing? I don't know. For me, yeah, it would. But, it just gives you an idea of what a vow can do for a person's life. One of the vows I realized that I had, a personal vow, was not to speak up right away for myself. For others, it was perfectly acceptable. But when I spoke up for myself, there were times when I'd get admonished for that and told, "Oh no, you don't do that." And so I found that when it came time to doing things to explain my position, it was very difficult. And that really hindered a lot of progress in my life that I could have had. When I went into the Akashic Records, it was like, oh my goodness, like that is something I thought of when I was 7. I was 7. And has affected me for, nearly 50 years. Are you kidding me? Nearly 50 years? And I wasn't able to stand up for myself. Really? That would explain a lot of things. And in realizing that, it was like all of a sudden, whoop. So hence, I don't know if you noticed on the write up today, I will be increasing my prices to reflect my own self worth. It's time I stood up for me. I could stand up for others, and that was not a problem. That was always praiseworthy, even as a child. But to stand up for myself and do things that were on the right track for me sometimes was not the easiest thing. And I found out why it was not the easiest thing. So it makes sense. It makes sense. So in finding the Akashic Records and being able to delve into specifics like that, it's starting to open up a whole new world for me and for the people that I'm serving as well. So I love what I've been doing and the answers that I'm getting and the details that I get. So maybe it was time for me to step up and start taking on this new role in my healing. And I'm realizing that although I've been taught, and I'm still in the course, so I'm not done yet, but although I've been taught to come at it from a specific way, you follow this specific path, I find that I can get to the same spots quicker, easier by just saying a certain thing, and my intention is there, quick and easy now. And I found out today, just today, I'm on the 6th lesson of 12. The fella says, now I don't need to follow all those rules that I did at the beginning, that he was teaching us at the beginning. He says, because it doesn't have to be that way. He says he's teaching this way so that, people have a definitive method for accessing the Akashic Records, which is fine, absolutely fine. But it's like, you have to know the rules in order to be able to break the rules. And that's what this is. I love being a rule breaker, as best as I can. And certainly people wouldn't think that of me, but it is true. If I can do it in a different way, quicker, easier for people and so on, save them time, save them money, I'm going to do it. And that's just what I'm doing. So anyway, so that's an example of a vow. A vow is a promise you make to yourself. Contract is something else. So if you own a phone, a cell phone, you have signed a contract with your service provider. If you have heat in your house and you're the bill payer, you would have signed a contract or agreed to a contract. So it's with another person or group of people, and you abide by those rules. And, so lawyers make a killing on people following and or breaking contracts. And it's amazing how deep into our psyche that goes. And so if you've made a contract with a person, whether you were wholeheartedly behind it or not, makes no difference. You have agreed. It's kind of like you put your John Henry on the paper. All right, that's you. You've said, yes, you would honor this, whatever it was. So whether you were being blackmailed into it or whether you were, happily skipping into it, a contract is a contract and they need to be honored. Can contracts be dissolved? Absolutely, they can. Absolutely. Most contracts do not go on forever. They're not infinite in nature. They usually die when you do, kind of a thing. So, or you stop paying that particular bill, so you no longer have a contract with the phone company anymore because you're not paying your bill. So that contract got null and void. We can also have our contracts made null and void. Some of them I've discovered could have been made null and void long time ago, as in previous lifetimes ago. But for whatever reason, at that time, we weren't cognizant of that ability to do it. And so we've kept them, and our soul has kept that record and brought it along. I don't know if it was just for fun or that's what one does with contracts. I'm not sure yet. I will find out eventually, I hope. But that's the idea, is that you need to know to go in to break that contract. So just like a lawyer would say, hey, you know what? You have been breaking this contract and you haven't done it in a legal fashion and you get into trouble. Well, same for this, you can try to break contracts, but if you haven't made them null and void in a way that is right, then there seems to be consequences. Is that the karma that people have? Probably. I don't know. But that seems to be the way I'm leaning towards. So there's ways to go into the Akashic Records, find out whether or not you have a contract, find out whether or not it can be released here and now. And if it can't, what do you need to do to make it right so that you can make that contract null and void? And it's not usually anything too difficult, especially if they've been made in your past lives. It's not like you can go back in and pay the guy the $15 that you owed him or whatever it was back then, and now the contract is torn up. So you might have to do something as simple as apologize, ask for forgiveness, ask if there is another way or to some other person that you could pay this $15 kind of a thing and make it right. And usually there is. So whatever it is, you do that, the contract gets removed off of your Akashic records. Like I've literally seen a guide literally crossing out records as I was going through them and getting them eliminated for some people, and even on my own, same thing. So it's been amazing. And then the feeling after, it is a beautiful feeling. Every person without exception, including myself, has felt lighter, brighter, happier. It seems like there's more possibilities because these contracts weigh on a person. It's like having debt all the time, and you can never pay off the credit cards because the interest rates have been there so much. And so if you're only able to make the minimum payment, well, all of a sudden, your $1,200 bill has become 15, has become 2,000 because of all the interest accrued. And unless you take drastic steps to clear that up, you still owe that money. And so when that finally does get paid off, you feel like, oh my goodness, it's light, and you can breathe again. So I'm finding this a very fascinating and another wonderful way to do healing. So just wanted to share that with you all, that the Akashic Records is something that I'm doing. Currently, I'm charging, I think, $44 for an hour session. I know I think I have it registered as 50 minutes, but I always go over. I know that. And I tell people ahead of time, but it's just for scheduling so that I can, in case I do need to stop at an hour, that I say it's a 50-minute process, or 45 minutes, whatever I've said. But anyways, so that's going to be going up in February, I believe I said, for that. All the others, though, all my reading and healings that I have right now, they need to go up, guys. They absolutely need to go up. I am finally taking that step for myself, standing up for myself, and, kind of proclaiming in a way that my self-worth is worth a heck of a lot more than, one of my things is worth $3.21. Ask my angel a pendulum question, for example. And I just love her. She is an absolute delight. Absolute delight. And, not that I'm trying to get rich, but I am trying to eke out a living. I do have bills to pay, and with my limited income that I have now as a retired teacher, I did not get near full pension, not close to it at all. With all these prices going up, it's difficult, and I need to do something else to help me help myself. And so that's what I'm doing. And unashamedly so, because I know the value of what I give. I know that people benefit from it greatly. And one lady, she won the lottery. We worked on her money issues. Another person has found a wonderful connection with his daughter again. Others have released relationships that were hurting them, and were able to finally get up that gumption and move forward. Others have been able to heal physical ailments, some mental ailments, some emotional ailments. The only one that I haven't quite yet mastered was, a fella asked me if I could work on his eyesight to improve his eyesight. It did improve a bit, but not enough that I would consider it as a success. It's not like he was blind and then all of a sudden he can see. He could see, but he wanted greater vision. Wasn't able to do that yet, but I am still going to work on that for him. And who knows, perhaps going in through the new places that I'm finding within the Akashic Records Hall, for people, that this is where healing finally can take place, and healing energies can be applied in even a greater way. I mean, have more effect, positive effect on people and what they're looking for releasing than they ever have had before. So I'm still working on that one, and I look forward to helping him. That would be a lovely, lovely thing to have happen. And if it doesn't mean that, you know, what I'm doing is wrong or bad or inferior or whatever it is. I mean, this is a two-way street. People can um, disallow a healing. They can allow it, and then all of a sudden change it around and not feel worthy of it. And if I didn't get that program to make sure beforehand that we should have, you know, worked on worthiness and so on, of having that, you know, that, you know, things can come back. So it's interesting. It's a very interesting process. But as I learn more and as I grow more in knowledge and wisdom, and I'm also calling back some of the gifts and talents that I had in previous lives. And that's the thing that I'm going to be working on, is try to reconnect with that and then bring them out into fruition. That has been very exciting. So I will let you know how that's going, my adventure on it as well. It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. Well, I see. Thank you, Cricket and June and Mandy. Thank you for coming down. You want that too? Which is that? Which do you want, Cricket? Probably your own healing gifts, I'll bet. Hey, because we're in that same class. And you know, I look forward to learning the rest of this course and bringing that information out to you, that I can, you know, help you attain those gifts, bring them to your forefront as well, or at the very least, bring my own gifts so I can help you out with whatever it is that ails you. Because learning this type of stuff, although honestly I believe everybody can, and we all have abilities, not everybody is ready to learn this type of stuff, chalking it up to being woo-woo or beneath them or too scary or too crazy or whatever it is. I mean, people have their own labels that they use. It's all good. It's all good. We're all on different places in our journey. And, you know, how I used to think as a child is no longer how I think as an adult. I see things from different perspectives, and people on different parts of their journeys are going to see things from different perspectives than other people who are farther ahead on a journey or on a different journey altogether, whatever it is. And just because one is farther ahead on a journey does not mean that they know everything or are better than another person who is not so far ahead. That's not how this works. This isn't what I learned in kindergarten. You know, everybody in grade 7 knows. No. What I learned in kindergarten, I might have learned different from what, you know, the next kindergarten kid that has taken kindergarten would have learned. Plus family values, upbringing, where you lived, the culture, your own personal thoughts, whatever you brought along from your incarnations and your inheritances and your backstories and so on. So it doesn't go that way. So, you know, if I ever give that impression that because I'm, you know, either at this part of my journey and you're not, it doesn't mean that I think I'm better or superior or anything like that, because that's not how this works. It's kind of like oh, I don't know if you guys are Star Wars fans, but I am. And in one of the newer ones, um, Finn was saying to Han Solo that well, we'll just use the Force and everything is going to go our way. And Han Solo says, that's not how the Force works. Like, it's not just lifting rocks or whatever it is, as the shows were pointing out. And it's true. That's not how this learning cycle goes. We're on different parts of journey and we have different things. And what I saw along my journey could have been vastly different from what you saw along your journey. So you might be, this far along your journey, yet have learned this much because of what you've encountered. And I might be, this far along my journey, but only have learned this much because of what I've encountered along my journey. So, yeah, it doesn't work that way. So just so you all know, so if you have any questions, comments, concerns, don't be afraid to write me or DM me. I am usually online somewhere doing something or other. I'm taking courses. I'm writing. Oh, I'm writing 3 new books now. Guess what ones I'm on? One is on the Akashic Records. Another one is on vows and contracts. And I don't remember what the third one is on right now. Oh, yes, I do. It's on beaming healing, the new thing that I'm going to be doing for people, which is beaming with Source, in conjunction with Source, beaming healing energies on some various topics of your choosing. And unlike these new devices that have been coming out, I don't know if you've seen them, but they're splattered across Facebook anyways, and across the internet, where you're receiving a certain amount of frequencies and they're sent for so long and they do this. And yes, I've experienced them. Yes, they have worked. It's been wonderful. But it's a finite program. It's a computer sending out a specific frequency. The frequency might be a good frequency for you to heal a pain or to help with a stomach issue or whatever it is, but it's a finite program. Whereas when I'm in conjunction with Source, and Source does ahead the healing that is necessary, so that when I do that daily transmission, or I'll be setting this up in January, and I'll be sending out a daily transmission of healing energies. I mean, it's going to be unique for each person. You can't buy that. You cannot buy that from a machine. And so I'm looking forward to getting that out. And that's the third book. My list of books now has gone from, I think it was 8, and now I'm at 11. It's crazy. It's just crazy. And I'm looking forward to writing those books up and having them available very soon. So I'm looking forward to those. Those will be published in the new year. Probably it will be on my website for certain, but I'm looking at Amazon as well. So whether I do it as, what do you call it, Kindle edition? I already have a couple of books on Kindle edition. And so that might be one way. Or the other is print on demand. And if that's the case, I think I still need an ISBN number for them all. So I'll be looking at purchasing those numbers or getting them or acquiring them or whatever it is that one does. It's been a while since I've published a book. So I don't recall because I went through a couple of different channels publishing books, and each one had a different way of acquiring ISBN numbers. So I'll have to look into that. So I look forward to having those available for your reading pleasure in the very near future. And then you can get, you know, no nonsense information, no highfalutin stuff. You know, it's basic, it's understandable, it's readable, it's relatable information, so that if you too want to go down this journey, you don't have to spend decades like I have in order to acquire the information, and then trial and error, and you'll be able to glean this from books. And I'll be putting the books into courses, because sometimes just reading a book is not enough. You need a person to explain, what do you mean by this, and so on and so on. And yes, it's just, even though you might be able to understand the words and be able to do it, sometimes some people require that extra bit of support. I know I have, and it's, not for lack of trying or lack of not understanding, what's going on, but sometimes it's just getting a better either picture in my head, or that extra one sentence that made all the difference in the world. It's like when I teach my kids math. At home, they might have been taught a certain way, and I'm trying to teach them the new math. Don't get me started on that one. But anyways, and their parents say, just do it this way and you get the right answer. Well, yes, they get the right answer, but I'm supposed to be teaching them to get the right answer this particular method. And so what I've always done is I always allow the children to show me how their parents were helping them, and show me that, and then help me understand the way that I've been teaching it. What parts didn't make sense? Help me understand what you're missing out on that. And then all of a sudden, the two are relatable, and we end up able to do the new math, the new way, and all of this stuff, because we could come from a position where we could both understand that base concept and take the next baby steps forward, that task analysis, that break it down and we go forward for the kids to understand. Because especially in grades 3, 6, 9, and 12, there are departmental exams to take, and the kids have to show their work, and they have to show their work in a special way. And if the work is not shown, they do get deducted. So of course, I'm going to teach them how to do it the special way, so that they get full marks and can earn that rank that they most certainly deservedly have earned, and be able to do it in a way that pleases the school board as well. So anyways, I hope that helped. I hope that I will see you in the new year. I will certainly continue doing Facebook Lives. I am looking forward to getting more interaction, though, than what I have. So I don't know if that requires me purchasing ad space or whatever it is, but I need certainly a bigger following. And if you know of people who might be at all interested in what I do, and how I help, and the results that I know I can get for you, please send them my way. If you would like to write me some testimonials that you have had with me and have experienced some great results, I would love to have those and put those up on the website as well. And we're going to make 2022 a year where it's not a repeat, but we get to actually go boldly forth into the future, step into our new way of being with confidence, a little bit of pep in the step, hopefully a great big smile on the face, and having a lot of fun along the way. Because if it's not fun, Sometimes it just ain't worth it, no matter what you lay in. So um, that's been, how I got my students to learn. We always try to make it as fun as possible. I mean, sometimes you can't, but you do the best you can. And adults are no different that way. Everybody likes to have a little fun in their life. Everybody likes to enjoy the task at hand, and sometimes the task is a hard task, and that's okay. And sometimes it's an easy task, and that's okay. And sometimes you grow a lot, and sometimes you grow a little, and sometimes you just get a deeper understanding of what you already knew. It's already all good, all good, all going to take you further down the path that you've elected to come here and try out during your visit around the sun a few times here. So with that, I'm going to bid you adieu because I don't see any more comments or questions or anything else. So, reminder, yes, I'll be raising my prices, and that's coming in the end of January, January 23rd, a Sunday, my birthday. So I'll be turning 60. And that's okay. That's okay. I look forward to the next bunch of years being healthy, happy, productive, and being of service to y'all. You take care, and wishing you a happy, happy, happy new year full of peace, prosperity, health, wealth, and kindness for yourself. God bless y'all. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.